What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex Night Shift podcast for week 5. I'm your host, Chris Raybon, and I'll be joined by the odds maker, Sean Kerner, to break down the London game, the Monday night DFS slate, and the Sunday night DFS slate. Cowboys-Niners should be a good one. What's cracking, Sean?
What's up? Starting to feel a lot better. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been getting over colds in like a good 24 to 36 hours lately, so I'm feeling good. Thanks, man. Glad you're feeling well too.
Yeah.
Just in time for your favorite Thursday night football as we're recording this.
I can't wait.
Thursday. You guys will probably hear it Friday morning, but we record this on Thursday. And if you haven't yet, be sure to check out our player projections episode over on the Action Network podcast channel and our fantasy preview episode where we break down the main slate. That's right here on this channel. We've also got some early Sunday morning football across the pond again. So let's get right into it. Jaguars for the second week in a row in London. This time it's a quote unquote road game for the Jaguars, even though this is definitely their home away. Yeah, this is their home away from home. Yeah, they've been out there. The Bills, I believe, are going to travel on Friday. So when you guys are and gals are listening to this, Bills probably be heading over there. But the spread,
will this game be on Toy Story?
I don't think so. I did get to see some of that. It was pretty cool.
I had to. I was like, while I was trying to figure out my ESPN Plus login, I was watching the Toy Story game. That's what we've been reduced to with all these streaming services. So I was like legit just watching that game, like yelling at it. So good times.
Yeah, I still don't understand how like those save passwords work, but like at this point, I usually just use my Face ID on some Apple device, and somehow I get into like what I need to get into. But like I feel like
this time, but I hear you.
It's the worst when you're like scrambling to like you think you're gonna just turn on a game, and then you have to go to like 10 different steps, and you have to do 10 million things and like projections and all this. Yeah,
yep.
I've been there. But yeah, spread 5.5 in favor of the Bills. The total 48.5. This is 9:30 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network. Both these teams have been pretty unlucky, right? Yeah, Jaguars 26, Bills 22nd. So nothing as far as the matchup here. So let's jump right into the captain. Who do you expect to have a freak performance in this London game?
Gotta go with Josh Allen right now while he's cooking. You know, he had a bit of a rough stretch to start the season, but he's starting to play at a high level now. Had that massive 324 touchdown game through the air against the Dolphins, including a rushing touchdown, of course. He just has one of the highest ceilings at the QB position, and the Jags have been beatable through the air. You know, they're more league average in terms of DVOA at 15th, and they're a little bit better against the run. You know, they rank 7th in DVOA, so could be a good game to, you know, play Josh Allen. He has a couple stackable options, obviously, and just his rushing upside just gives him an added advantage when it comes to the captain slot. So for this slate, I'm going with Josh Allen.
Yeah, love Allen. This is, as you mentioned, a pass funnel defense, me. Jaguars have been good against the run since Peterson took over, really, last year. So I do expect the Bills to continue to throw it. So I got to go with Stephon Diggs. I mean, he looks amazing this year. That play where he just caught the ball and ran away from like 3 tackles, it was just unbelievable. And that was one of his, 3 touchdowns last week. He's just been balling all year. He looks great, looks healthy, looks motivated. I'm sorry for Cater Kohu, because I mean Stephon Diggs was just beating him left and right. I don't know how this dude is he did not have a fun film session this week, but I expect Diggs to do that to this Jag secondary that, like you said, is pretty beatable through the air. You know, they got to feast on a non-quarterback last week in Desmond Ridder, but now it's back to reality. And I expect the Bills to be able to dominate time of possession, even though they're not going to run a lot, because this Jags offense still is a little bit out of sorts. I feel like, and this is a real tough test for this Bills D. So even though they're going to probably be throwing the ball around, I do expect the Bills to rack up some plays and not run the ball very much. So love Allen and love Stephon Diggs here. Who do you like for values?
Yeah, so the Jags offense has been a bit out of sorts, but you know who has not been out of sorts? Evan Ingram. He looks like he picked off where he left off at the end of last year. He just looks
Picked
like
up.
picked up.
You said picked off. You're thinking about Desmond Ritter again.
Oh
Picked
yeah,
off.
Desmond Ritter's in my mind.
Picked off.
No, Aiden O'Connell too.
Right.
Jesus. But yeah, no, Evan Ingram. Man, he looks like a stud still, and you know the Bills are probably still a tough matchup for tight ends. You know, they still have Matt Milano, but they did lose Tremaine Edmonds in the offseason. So, you know, maybe they're more of an average matchup. Milano can only do so much. And the Bills, you know, they've faced the easiest schedule in terms of opposing tight ends. If you look at their schedule, oh my God. But even like guys like Cole Turner and Durham Smythe were able to have pretty productive games. So I think Evan Ingram should be just fine here, despite the tougher matchup. He has at least 6 catches in 3 straight games, saw 8 targets in 3 straight games. So he's just playing at a high level right now. Love him as, you know, just a mid-range play here. And I feel like I haven't been able to talk about our boy as much this year, but Gabe Davis now has a touchdown in 3 straight games. He only has a 13% target rate, but he has an A-dot over 17. I mean, that's just the Gabe Davis experience. And unfortunately, that means he relies on touchdowns and, you know, deep shots. So he's going to be very volatile week to week, which can be frustrating for season-long head-to-head, you know, formats. But for DFS, especially like a single game slate, Gabe Davis is still one of the more valuable receivers to play in these type of spots. So going to have a ton of Gabe Davis here.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because, you know, the one thing, I mean, Stephon Diggs is going to ball out every week, but,
yeah,
you know, it's kind of a classic spot. You know, Diggs coming off the big game. All right, defense is going to sell out. You probably get some Gabe Davis, another early touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I actually was messing around with some lineups, and I love this like Bills onslaught lineup where I can get like Allen, Diggs, Davis. I think the defense and like Kincaid and like one Jaguar or something like that.
Oh damn.
So yeah, it's fun to, and I like this Bills passing game, and I like Dalton Kincaid this week. I think this might be a breakout week for him. Jacksonville is allowing a 19.5% target per route rate to tight ends. That's 3rd highest among defenses in the National Football League. They've given up the 3rd most receptions to tight end, and Kincaid ran a season high 79% of the routes. Last week, Dawson Knox is a little bit banged up. He's questionable. I think he's going to play, but I think Kincaid's role is going to continue to grow. And I believe Stephon Diggs said he like stole a touchdown from Kincaid last week, or like he like jumped up to catch a pass that like was kind of going toward Kincaid. So I think you're going to start seeing Kincaid be a little more involved down in the red zone. That's usually been, you know, Knox's forte, but we're 4 games in now. It's week 5. This is around the time I really like to start investing in rookies, especially rookies who have kind of gotten off to slow starts, because all it takes, you know, you want to get ahead of these things, especially in like DFS where you're not really risking much of anything investing in these guys. So love Kincaid here. And also, you know, Jacksonville's a top 3 zone team, zone defense. You know, their corners just don't really play well in man, so they tend to play a lot of zone. And Kincaid has caught 12 of 12 targets against zone coverage this year. That's 2nd on the team, behind only Stephon Diggs, and 3/4 of his targets this year have been against zone. So great matchup for Kincaid. And I'm going back to Calvin Ridley on the Jags side. Initially, you know, we talked on a pod and we were both pretty down on him, but the more I look at this matchup, and you kind of mentioned, you know, Christian Kirk, you know, might have a tougher matchup. And if Zay Jones comes back, we don't know exactly how Kirk's role is going to shake out. He's been playing really well, so I doubt they, you know, go back to like 65% like he was in week 1. But Ridley, I think can take the most advantage of the fact that the Bills are going to be without top cornerback Tre'Davious White here. And if you look at the Bills DVOA splits by field location, they're top 2 to the left and the middle, and 19th to the right anyway. So like Ridley, that's where he gets most of his targets. He's got 11 targets, 8 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown to the right side of the field. So that's over half of his production that way. So it aligns pretty well. And Buffalo is also 25th in DVOA against number 1 receivers, which is interesting because they did have Trey White, but I don't think he was shadowing much this year. But they're top 7 against number 2 and number 3 and others. So great matchup on paper for him. 2 targets last week. He did get the touchdown, but I expect a little bit of a squeaky wheel, and also I just expect the Jags to have to throw in this game. They've been running a lot, but their offense is just out of sorts. And I think the Bills have just been putting up monster games against everyone but the Jets, who are really good defense. They just exploded on the Raiders and the Commanders and the Dolphins. So this could be a great pass-heavy game script for Trevor Lawrence and company. So Going back to Ridley here, coming off a 2-target game. Who you like for dart throws?
So just looking at the Bills passing attack, I think Trent Sherfield might be interesting just because, last week they started to use a little bit less 2 tight end sets. So Dawson Knox's routes run rate took a bit of a hit. So more 3 wide sets. So players like Deontay Hardy and Trent Sherfield saw a bit more playing time. Sherfield saw the highest routes run rate, 41% among.
It was a revenge game for him too.
Oh yeah, it was. He didn't do much. He got 2 balls for 18 yards.
There were just a bunch of revenge games. I thought
there was a ton. There's some this week too that I like.
Yeah, Devontae Adams. We'll talk about.
Yes, we'll get to that. But yeah, any receiver that's running a route 41% of the time with Josh Allen under center, I'm interested in a 1-game slate. And then on the other side, Tank Bigsby, again, he has been relegated to just more of a change of pace back for the Jaguars. Travis Etienne is a workhorse back this season, but it seems like whenever they do have goal line looks, they get Tank Bigsby in there. So again, he's a potential vulture touchdown guy, which is perfect for a single game slate. Excellent leverage against Travis Etienne teams, and for the 1-game slate. So I think Tank Bigsby is also worth a look as a dart throw as well.
Yep, 2 carries, 4 yards, 1 touchdown. That's.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Classic.
The Tank Bigsby special.
Yep. So last week when we were talking to Giants Seahawks, I was like, I'm not even going to bother with any Giants, and I'm going to do the same thing with the Jags.
Yeah.
Jamal Agnew might be back. I guess he's an option just because you can stack him with the defense, but I don't really want to play the Jags defense in this game, and thus I'm gonna go with 2 Bills first. The Bills defense, love the Bills defense each and every week, and on this kind of slate, they could absolutely be one of the handful of double-digit scorers. Buffalo leads the NFL with 8 interceptions, tied for the lead with 16 sacks, second in points allowed. Jacksonville has already allowed 2 double-digit defensive games to opponents. And remember, Jacksonville's special teams is a little shaky. Remember that game against Houston where, they just could not get it together, special teams-wise. And that leads into my next dart throw, which is Deontay Hardy, formerly Deontay Harris. So in his 4 games this year, he's had 4 touches in week 1, 2 touches in week 2, 4 touches in week 3, 2 touches in week 4. So he's on pace for another 4 in this game. He's had multiple targets and catches in every game, and he's got a couple carries as well. He is 4th on the Bills in targets, catches, and yards against zone coverage, which is important because, like I said, Jacksonville is one of the more zone-heavy teams in the league. And he's also the punt returner for the Bills. So, again, Jacksonville's special teams, they had some issues with the field goal team and went out a couple weeks ago. So, stacking Hardy with the Bills defense special teams, but like them individually either way. But I think Hardy's role has been consistent week in, week out, even though Sherfield, Shakir have been kind of popping up. Hardy has been getting his manufactured touches. Hasn't done much with him yet, so still kind of looking to break one or get in the end zone for Hardy. So I think it's a good time to invest on the 1-game slate.
for sure. And it looks like Damian Harris is dealing with like a neck injury. If he doesn't suit up, like Latavius Murray is in play, right? I guess even if he does suit up.
Yeah.
But it seems like every game, Murray is either the goal line back or the third down back. Like he takes one of those roles.
Yeah, absolutely. He, they're working in all three of these guys, but they definitely have been given, like taking Cook off the field in a bunch of goal line looks. And he did finally got a goal line touchdown last week, but that is something to kind of watch, especially because Josh Allen's also here to siphon touchdowns. But tougher matchup for Cook. So he's more of a contrarian play in this one. You probably need to do some things in the pass game.
Yeah, you're pretty low on him, right? Like he's like low teens or high teens for you this week.
I think he might be like RB 20-ish.
Oh yeah. It's a tough slate to play him, but those backup running backs have been involved, especially Latavius Murray. If Harris is out, who are they calling up? Do they still have Duke Johnson? Let me see. Oh, Ty Johnson. Interesting.
Ty Johnson, and because they used to have, what was it, Jordan Mims or somebody like that, but I don't think they have him.
Well, they had Naheem Hines, but like Tywan Jones. I'm trying to think of some of the guys.
No, he's on the Giants. I think
they have Ty Johnson right now, so maybe he would steal some third down looks from Latavius Murray. Either way, I think Murray would be a definite option if Harris is out.
I would like Cook more.
For sure.
Harris was out, because I actually don't think. I think whoever they call it would just be special teams. I don't even think they would give him a touch. Remember they barely gave Hines touches when he was that kind of back. So they signed Harris and Murray to add some power. But if one of them is out, I think the other guy and Cook just kind of picked that up.